Hi, beautiful friends. It's Leah Marie here with your weekly Oracle 3-card pick a card. This week from a new deck that a wonderful soul gifted us, Chakra reading cards. So I am coming to you this week with energy balancing and chakra balancing, opening, clearing, just general realignment energy. So if there's any particular area in your life where you have perhaps felt a little out of balance or would like more alignment or just more energy, then that is really going to be ideal for you today to focus on that. Otherwise, as always, these can touch upon many different topics and subjects. So if there's other things that come up, just really take what resonates, leave what does not. If stuff does resonate, I do ask or invite you to like, share, subscribe to the channel. That really helps me out, helps me know that you guys want me to continue to do this as well. And so I'm going to invite you to bring your awareness to your heart center, to either place a hand there or just focus your breath awareness there as I go to have Spirit pop out the cards that we need this week, and just allow your own intuitive energies to begin to open and flow more freely, to become clear and more focused for you this year, and really just creating more space for you guys to come into your own inner alignment as well. So I am gonna see what does pop out. That one, let's be our first one. And anything else that you might need this week, any other support, whether it be energetic, emotional, mental, physical, you can bring that to the table as well this week and ask for guidance or clarity for that, or anything else that you guys need, of course. So with that being said, if there's anything that you guys do need, as always, pop in the description box below. There's going to be my contact information and all kinds of other goodies if you are interested in checking that out as well. So do appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead this week and start with card 1, and you can go ahead and just ask your intuition 1, 2, or 3 for you, and I'm going to start over here. So we're going to go to card 1, which is spiritual awakening. So really powerful energy. I'm going to bring that closer for you guys to take a peek. So as you can see, that is a lot of really high consciousness energy sort of blasting out of the crown chakra here. So this is really talking about your own spiritual awakening and your own expansion of your crown chakra. And so with this, it's a time of really broad expansion in your spiritual realm. So the number on the card is 29, which you may or may not be able to see. I know the white lettering can be challenging sometimes. So 29 does break down to 11, which is a number that is very synonymous with spiritual awakening. And so in life, we go through many different types of spiritual awakenings. There isn't just one that happens and then we're done. There's more that happened continuously as you go through your path and your journey. And so at different times, there's going to be bigger ones. There's going to be ones that require more expansion, more diving deep within, more really going into the nitty-gritty stuff that your soul has been carrying around, perhaps for lifetimes. And so with everything as well that's going on a bigger scale within the world right now, a lot of people are having spiritual awakenings, especially people that have been doing this work, that have been showing up, looking for, ways to expand their intuition, ways to connect more with divine energy, with guides, ancestors, angels. You are all in that energy of greater spiritual awakening potential. So this energy is open up now to the collective in a broader way, which essentially means everyone is going to be going through their own spiritual awakenings. Some might be more subtle and some more expanded. And in my experience, people that are consciously choosing to engage with spiritual development and just personal growth and development in general are going to be more aligned with much bigger, faster, more profound changes happening, especially in 2021, where we have now entered into a space of returning to union with Source. So there are a lot of energies that are entering and being activated on this plane now to aid in your expansion. So, one thing that I want to point out is if you look at this or just really connect with that energy is coming from within this being and it is radiating out. And it is that golden and white, those higher vibrational energies. So, at this time, you are, as you're expanding, also beginning to radiate your light in bigger and more profound ways to humanity. So this can also create many physical changes, changes in your body, changes in what you want to wear, what you want to eat, what feels good in your home, what you feel aligned with in terms of activities, people, types of things that you engage with on a regular basis. So you may find yourself now, or you either have been or you're about to start to feel like you need things to shift in different ways. And this is just part of what happens organically when we raise in vibration, when we expand spiritually, vibrationally. We are in a place where we naturally then will have other things in our life that are going to need to get upgraded. So everything holds a vibration. And if you have things around you that are old or maybe broken or worn down that maybe did at one time feel like, okay, they're serving the purpose, it might start to feel as though those things can no longer be in that state. Like you need to buy new versions or you need to repair or upgrade in essence. So it's basically like as you expand and grow, everything around you is going to naturally start to call for that as well. So that's just something to be aware of. So if you start feeling like you want to clean out your house, clean out your wardrobe, upgrade your wardrobe, change the way that you eat or interact with life in general or in any facets. That's very common, and I'm saying this because sometimes people have that urge, but they don't always understand where it's coming from. So this is a time where if you have been feeling like things, you're just like outgrowing things per se, which doesn't mean those things were bad. They served their purpose for the time and space that they needed to. And as you're growing, the things around you also naturally will need to grow or will need to change. And so this is also likely a time where you're going to experience much more internal change. And then that internal change is going to be reflected back to you in your external world by the external world also starting to change or call to you for changes. So it's really important to also at this time be very gentle with yourself, especially your physical body. You know, as we look at this, it's a beautiful image. And at the same time, that expansion is going to affect your physical body. I have mentioned this before, and some of you have come to me with your ascension symptoms, and those are really symptoms that your physical body is experiencing as it is adjusting to the vibrational changes happening in your system. So, with this all happening in the head, a lot of times people will experience headaches, low energy, want to sleep more. You might also have pain down the neck and shoulders. All of that are all of those are normal ascension symptoms. However, I know right now as well with the fact that we are in a pandemic and that has its own set of symptoms. There have been people that have been feeling, a little bit of a struggle with that energy. So always check in with your heart, honor what you feel. And of course, if you do feel that it is a medical situation, please do honor that. And at the same time, just know that if you're feeling big expansion in your spiritual and energetic bodies, and then you're having a direct correlation with physical components, that there can very often be a link. So that's just something to be aware of. So with this, it's really going to be a time of nurturing and nourishing yourself and surrendering to the process that is unfolding for you. And do reach out to your resources if you need support or you're experiencing things that you don't understand or you need guidance with. And of course, always checking in with your own intuition, your guides, your angels, ancestors, higher self for clarity along this journey. So that is the energy for you, is all about coming into greater alignment with your spirituality and your spiritual awakening at this time. So thank you for choosing card one, guys. Have a great week. Take care. So we're going to move on to card two, which is listening. So really cool image. And what I find fascinating about this right away is that it says listening, and yet it is aligned with there's the blue color on the border, but it's actually the third eye chakra. So this is, to me, speaking right away, is that it's about knowing when to speak and when to listen, and knowing where from to listen. So oftentimes what I see with people is this energy where they're in a conversation with somebody and they're thinking about what they are going to say next before the other person has even finished talking. So how are you able to listen if this applies to you? Like if you find yourself thinking about, oh, what am I going to say next? But the person you're listening to is still talking, then you're not fully listening to what's being said. So this is coming into this space of how can you listen not only to what's being said, but energetically to what's not being said. So words are just a small percentage of what we're actually trying to express. We are far more energetic beings, and we do have not only words that we speak, but we have actions to back those words up. And in addition to that, we also have the energy that we're putting out to support the words that we're saying. So at this time, whatever it is in front of you, maybe this is about something specific, and maybe this is just an overarching, bringing you more awareness, more alignment with your ability to listen clearly and from not only your heart, but your third eye. So really this energy of how can you become a better listener? And maybe you feel like you're a pretty good listener, and at the same time, we always have room to grow. So there might be something that you could do a little better or you could augment. Maybe it's more about tapping into, okay, you've been a good listener, you're listening from your heart, but are you listening from your intuitive center in terms of what is the other saying to you, and what is it for you to say, if there's anything for you to say that's going to come from a much higher consciousness level to really have it be a very beautiful, powerful interaction. So often I feel that in the collective, a lot of people will speak and other people think they're listening. But then if we were to really engage in that dialogue of asking, like, well, what did you really say? Or what did you mean by what you said? There might be a totally different takeaway. And I do truly feel that as we're shifting into unity, because we all define things differently, it's important for us to really listen to how another person is defining and describing what they're talking about. And if, as you're listening, you're not understanding, then ask for clarity. Ask them to say it differently. Ask for yourself to be more expanded and open, because sometimes as we're listening, we can get triggered. And then if we get triggered by what someone's saying, then oftentimes the ability to listen to what they're continuing to say can get shut down, or at the very least be run through a filter that's distorted from our view of what's being said, which may or may not actually be what someone is saying. And so this is an opportunity for you to really align more fully with what it means to truly listen with an open heart, with no judgment, with compassion, with acceptance, with love to what other people are saying, even if you don't agree or even if you don't understand. So often in the work that I do with people coaching, I will use a word with someone and they don't understand. And so then I'll re-describe the word, redefine the word, and come to find that we both have very different definitions of the same word. So I do make the suggestion often that if you're in a conversation like that, Google the word together or by yourself if you're not able to do that at the same time. Google the word and look at those definitions just to see how it's defined that way, because that can expand your understanding and your definition. And then if it's not aligned with the other person, simply ask the other person, well, what does that word mean to you? So that you can understand and listen from a different perspective. So, one other thing is I just want to point out this image is a little bit more abstract. And I feel this is important because when we're listening, but we're listening from our specific view of the world and our cues and the way that we define things. So it's going to be abstract. It's going to be abstract for each of us on one level, which is why the more clear we are in our communication and the more we do speak up when there is a calling to do that, when we might not understand, the easier it is for us to gain clarity on all things in life. And so the other message I'm getting with this is this strong energy of listening to the earth. So many of you who come here are really strongly connected to Mother Earth, earth keepers, earth angels. You have a very strong connection to this planet, to plants, to nature, to animals, to crystals. And with that being said, there is a language now that I have been hearing louder and louder the more I am out in nature, where the earth, the plants, the trees, the animals, they are starting to speak. They're starting to put their wisdom forth to those who are listening. And so this isn't just about listening to English or voices we understand. This is about also listening to, as we connect with that third eye, listening to the intuitive inklings, listening to the energy. And I know that might sound weird if you're like, well, I don't hear energy, but that's why it's like focus on the third eye, focus on feeling into it. Listening can be done with our physical ears, but it can also be done through our heart, any of our chakras, and through our energy sensory system. So, really allowing yourself to be as still within yourself as possible so that you are able to listen to all of the communication happening around you that you are ready to hear. And like any skill set, the more you practice listening, the more you are going to hear. And the broader this is going to be, and the deeper the messages are going to be able to come to you, and the more resources and help you're going to be able to receive from the physical and non-physical planes. So this is really a time for you to step into that energy alignment of listening and the third eye and then the throat chakra as well, with that really coming into when is it time to speak and when is it just time to listen. So thank you for picking card 2, and I'm sending you so much love for a amazing week, guys. Thank you. So we're going to go over to card 3, which is creativity. And this is a really fun energy and image that is coming through here. I just want to be able to hold this a little without that reflection here. So creative energies at this time. So really pulling you into the navel chakra, that chakra that allows you to really create and express your unique expression. So even if you look here, you can see that on one side there is an image of a face, and then on the other side it's much more abstract. And so it's interesting how 2 of the 3 cards today had very abstract images, which to me is really singing the song of you expressing your own unique soul in whatever creative way that you feel called to, not for the purposes of having someone recognize a face versus paint on a canvas. I will attest to this. As a child, I have been very artistic my whole life, and I continue to paint and do things. And there was one instance as a child where my stepmom took me to the art museum because I was really down on myself about my creativity and it not looking how other people's stuff looked. And we went to the Milwaukee Art Museum at that time and looked at these images that were in the biggest museum in the state I grew up in. And there were some that were literally splashes of color on the canvas. And it was that moment where I had this shift in consciousness that I realized it was more about me expressing my soul in the way it needed to be expressed. It didn't matter if other people saw it the way I saw it, or if it looked like something that we can see as a tangible object on this plane. It was literally about creating for the sake of expression, for the sake of putting my energy out onto a canvas or fabric or jewelry or whatever medium it was at that time, and still continues to be. And so something really beautiful that happens when we come to this space of creating for the sake of expression, for the sake of creation itself, is a deep freedom to be and express ourselves authentically and openly. And what I find is that when I do this, at least, people really gravitate to many different things that I do. And I'm not doing it for that purpose. I'm doing it because it's something that needs to come out of me and be put on into some kind of medium in the physical plane. Okay. And so this is really calling you to the energy of creativity. Even if you don't feel that you're an artist, that doesn't matter either. We all have creative energy, and it doesn't have to be painting. It can be writing, it can be music, it can be you sculpting something, it can be you putting together an organization or a business, or any number of things that you are creating it. You are bringing a new energy of creation from the 5D to the 3D plane and having it be in manifest form. So I do encourage you to look at creative energy as simply something that you are creating, and that can range from anything to everything. I mean, everything that we have on the physical plane was created. Granted, we aren't creating the trees, but we can plant gardens and allow the space for that creation to happen. The point is that there's many different ways that you can create, and right now the energy of alignment that your soul is calling to is creative expression. And it's about you checking in to see where can you create, or where can you be creative in your life. That literally could be just coming through, like rearranging your house, your layout. So many of us with the pandemic have been obviously spending a lot of time at home. And if your house has been set up and you have your furniture and your pictures all in the same space and places, this can also call to a rearranging of that. For whatever reason, there's got to be at least one of you here where just like rearranging your internal home setting can shift the energy, can lighten things, can allow you to see your space in a different way. And so this is just another example of how you can be creative, literally just moving and shifting your world to have it be different than it has been. Because often if we're in these cycles that there isn't a lot of conscious change being taken place, especially with what we're dealing with now, and the amount of time we're spending in spaces that we normally wouldn't be spending for many people who weren't working at home before this, right? So it's coming into this time of really finding ways to be creative with how you engage with life, how you find the ways to make fun happen in times when there's a lot of heaviness. How can you get more creative with the meals that you make, with the activities that you do with yourself or your friends or people that you are able to connect with at this time? Even if you can't do it in person, finding creative ways to do that. So it's really this energy coming through so strongly now for us to really continue to focus on the positive, especially those of you who picked this card, to help you focus on the positive as we're going through uncertainty in deeper levels and for longer periods of time now. It's about getting creative, and how can you get creative to bring more expansion, more happiness and joy into your life through any medium through which you feel called to do that. And it might just be playing around with it to see what resonates, because maybe you don't know. So you need to just play around with some different ways to be creative in order to find something that works for you. So that's the energy coming through for card 3, really helping you align with that creative and expanded energy. I'd absolutely love any shares in new creative ways that you find to interact with life and the world and reality that we're living in right now. So please do feel free to share those as well. So I am sending you so much love and light for an amazing week. Until next time, be well.